right. So thanks for having me. It's my great pleasure to be here in Frankfurt at TEDx Talk. Yeah, and in the next, hopefully it will be 18 minutes, I will be talking about the somehow strange relation between super special creatures on the one hand, legendary creatures on the one hand, and building up digital competence on the other hand. And I'm pretty sure all of you know some legendary creatures, maybe from Greek mythology, like here, this guy, Odysseus, or maybe that one. I could also have put Daniel here, right, with a P. Superman, superhuman power, great skills, great capabilities, just awesome. We have some strange combinations between animals and humans, also coming from Greek mythology. We have more. We have from fairy tales the dragons. We have the unicorn. I think we are aware of them as well. And there's also this guy. I'm sorry for the bad quality of the picture. So to make it a little bit more different, I'm referring on that guy. And that's Yeti. Yeah? Yeti is used or is said to live somewhere in the Himalayan areas of East Asia. There is no clear evidence whether he or she really lives there. What is actually Yeti? It's said to be that he is some kind of ape-like creature, tall, big, running through the snow. But at the end, we are not sure whether he or she really exists. And this is actually one aspect that unites all of these creatures, what we just have seen, the Yeti, Superman, the Greek mythology guys. I guess they are not really existing. But on the other hand, people are really obsessed about these creatures. They really admire them. It's really interesting to talk about them because there's some interesting aspect behind. Yeah, we do not really know what is it about, and they have some special skills. It's really fascinating to talk about them. And by having this in mind, I want to jump to the next category of legendary creatures. Now I've put them on this slide. What the hell? Legendary creatures? Well, of course, you could say, like, these are humans, and by definitions, humans are a miracle, right? Because they can do great things, and, I mean, look around the speeches. But that's not my point. You see fancy people. Sun is shining. For any reason, these guys always have a coffee, a cappuccino, latte macchiato when they're working. They look fancy, it's stylish, everyone is beautiful, right? So isn't that the environment where we want to work and live? It's actually this generation. Daniel already did it. Life is awesome. And I want to show up that life is awesome. And this is exactly the way how we look on the ones who drive digitalization, the young ones, the fancy ones, the stylish ones. Yeah? The digital natives, this is the picture we have in mind, are creative, innovative, dynamic, of course, healthy nutrition. They're doing everything perfectly, right? And when it comes to digital natives, I'm becoming more and more skeptical about the term as such because I'm wondering, if there are these digital natives, then we wouldn't have maybe any digital problems anymore, and everyone would understand everything, and everything would be great. But before I want to continue on this thought, let's have a look on the definition. And by having a look on the definition, we might see that the term digital native is already a couple of years old. It has been published in 1996 as part of the so-called Declaration of the Independence of Cyberspace by a group of people reflecting on the effects on the internet. And the term describes that these are persons who have been grown up from the beginning in the digital environment, right? And it tends to say something like the one who has grown up in the digital environment is already capable in using digitalization. And here I'm asking, why are schools in France start to forbid smartphones? Shouldn't a digital native not really know how to use a smartphone appropriately? I don't want to comment on the decision whether it makes sense to forbid a smartphone or not. I just want to reflect on, is someone who is really grown up in the digital age already prepared? Is it automatically a good leader? Is it automatically someone who can analyze data, who can understand data? but why is this person then uploading pictures about his or her newborn? Yeah. So I want to say that I think digital natives are not necessarily perfectly educated about how to use digital technologies and innovation and how to push forward in a positive way. And the second point I want to make is actually there's another group of people part of the definition, the digital immigrants. What does that mean? I would say that if I look around, maybe 30%, 40% here in the room, by definition, maybe a little bit less, would be the digital immigrants, the ones who have not grown up from the beginning, but are the ones who have learned about these technologies a little bit later. And what does it say? Does it say that we do have a two-class society, you know, the fancy, innovative digital natives in a shiny life on the one hand, and then the lower digital class on the other hand? Is this the way how we look on digital transformation, on innovation? If yes, I would be a little bit afraid of the future. And I think all of these terms, they don't help us. They don't help us at all because they start to subdivide people in these two groups. There was a survey just a couple of weeks ago, the results were published, among European Union citizens about the prospects on the future. And the majority of European citizens were skeptical about the future and were preferring the past. And I think one reason is that people are skeptical what is coming up with the artificial intelligence, with the machine learning, with the algorithm, because they don't understand. They have not the education, they have not the understanding, and therefore they reject. And this is exactly the point why I strongly believe we need to start a real transformation expedition towards digitalization. Yeah? For me, digital transformation is like an ongoing journey that will take us in the next decades. Yeah, it will not stop. It's not a project. It's also not limited to one specific technology. It's an ongoing journey. And for that journey, we also need to involve the ones who are not in the shiny world of drinking cappuccino, being in the co-working spaces, and doing. These are the ones building machines, these are the ones building houses, generating real value, real products. And even in the future, we're gonna see these products because we need to have the jackets and the cars. Someone needs to build it. So what we need to do is we need to make sure that these guys are involved into digitalization as well. We need to explain. Yeah, we need to educate them. We need to educate them about all of these innovations which might be clear for us in universities, but there is a life outside. And therefore, this journey needs to be more open. We shouldn't forget about the ones in the base camp. Yeah? We should open up our mission, and we need to think about a very important raw material for that mission. And this raw material, we can make the analogy to oxygen. Yeah? If you go to an expedition, you need a lot of oxygen. I think it's about knowledge. It's about competence. It's about skill set. And this skill set, this knowledge, should not just be limited to the ones in universities and the ones who are doing the selfies and all of that. It should be available to all parts of the society. And there is a simple model that nicely describes how we can do that. Because when it comes to digital transformation, there are a couple of factors which are influencing digital transformation. And this is the ability for digitalization. What is the ability? The ability of digitalization can be subdivided into two groups. It's, do we know? And are we capable? What do we mean with that? Well, do we know means have we really understood all the buzzwords? Because all the time, and I cannot hear it anymore, it's the buzzword bingo. We need to find the next disruptive business model. Yeah? It's the next big thing. Artificial intelligence, Industry 4.0, Industry 5.0, cyber-physical systems, deep learning, machine learning, data mining. What the hell? Do you really know what is it about? Yeah? Ask yourself, are you really aware of these terms? And every second week a new term is coming up. And I'm really asking myself, does this help us? if we introduce new terms all the time and people are just sitting there and thinking, no, that's not my world anymore, and then they start to reject. And then they say, that's not my world, I don't understand the world. And the one who uses the most buzzwords with the strangest language will win. That's at the moment the game we are playing, and therefore we need to define, what is it about? So have we understood it? The second point is about skills. And Daniel already mentioned it. For sure, we need a totally different skill set. And the schools, the universities, the companies need to react right now. Otherwise, it will be too late. Yeah? We need a different skill set, and I'm really happy that World Economic Forum has just published a few weeks ago a huge survey, a huge study on that. Have a look at this. The growing skill sets till 2022. Of course, analytical thinking. Of course, it's about programming. But there is so much more. It's about a lot of soft skills, about leadership, about emotional intelligence, reasoning, problem solving. And then again, ask yourself, do you really get the education on that? For the ones who are in companies, do you get access in learning that, in applying that all the time? I'm very skeptical. I'm very skeptical. And I think we need to put way more effort with e-learning, with all different technologies which are available today, mobile learning, all of that stuff in getting this done. On the other hand, it's not so much anymore about the traditional stuff. So have a look at these lists. Just wait and see. Reflect about yourself. I'm not saying, and I'm always skeptical when it comes to these studies, that all of that will disappear, for sure not. But it will shift. And if we are not adapting to that, then we will have also a knowledge gap. We will have a deficit when it comes to workforce. We will have a deficit when it comes to have good employees and managers. And this is not just applying to employees, it's applying to leaders as well. Most of the leaders are also not yet prepared for that stuff. Yeah, they are still living in their world, in their silos, because there is no pain point at the moment. So I jump back. That was the left-hand side. It's about ability. If we stop here, we are not done. It's also about the willingness. And here I have bad news, because if you only argue with rational arguments like KPIs, sorry, Frankfurt School of Finance, it's not just about the KPIs. Yeah. It's also about arguing what's in for you, for the individual. So can we empower you? Will your job change in a positive way? Yeah? Maybe you can work in a more creative environment. Maybe it's not about a monotone job anymore. And this is, do we really want it? We need to find arguments for every person. And it's not just like, do it. If you argue we need to do it because of competitiveness, all right, every employee will say, of course, it's always about the competitive, but what's in for me? And the next point is about, are we supported? And this applies to universities, to schools, and again, to companies. Because what I realize very often is that managers come to events like this, what is a good idea for sure, yeah, or to Hannover Fair or CeBIT or whatsoever, IoT World, and then they see, wow, we need to do something. Everyone is talking about digitalization and all these technologies, and then they go back to their organizations and tell to their employees, you need to do something. So go for it, be more innovative. Yeah, let's be more innovative. But in the organization as such, nothing is changing. Same leadership type, same resources. And if you consider a regular person, a regular employee, working from 9 to 5 or even 9 to 6 or 7 hours, already 120% of capacity load. And then boss is telling you, okay, be more innovative, now do the digitalization. Of course, it will not work. But that's the bloody reality. Yeah? And the buzzwords will not help us. It's about the mindset, it's about the culture, which needs to be adapted. And I'm referring here to the term of digital competence. The digital competence is not just about technology, it's not just about data. Yeah? It is also about math and data, of course, but it's also a lot about the soft skills. And basically, when we think again about this expedition to find Yeti, the expedition to find the digital targets. I can come back to the oxygen. And I'm really happy that this aspect was already mentioned a couple of times today. The main oxygen what we need, the main oxygen what we need can be seen in this number. Any clue? 101. What does it stand for? 101. Sorry? Yeah? I give you a hint, yeah? Sorry? No, you're thinking way too technological. 101. 101? No. Wrong direction. We need to have 101 days of additional learning until 2021, each of us. And now again, reflect on yourself. How much additional learning do you have today? Right? So it would be on average 30 days a year. And for you university students, it doesn't mean that this is your study. It's additional to your study, because your study is your job. Yeah, your degree is your job. Additionally, 101 days. And now reflect on companies. Yeah, HR guys usually talk about, lifelong learning. We have a learning organization. No, we don't have it so far. Reflect how much opportunities people have in the organization to learn. It's not a lot. If they are lucky, they get a one-day workshop each year, right? So, lifelong learning, and please let's stop to use the term lifelong learning and instead just let's apply it. Get the job done. It's really time to do it. Thank you very much.